Hey everyone, it's Frankie-Lou. I'm coming to you today from the kitchen at the Grow Together homestead where I'm doing even more seed saving today. Now today's seed is one of my favorites because it's one of my favorite things to grow and eat, and that is tomato seeds. Now I've been saving tomato seeds. It's probably one of the seeds that I started saving first. It's pretty easy actually. A lot of folks it can also be very complicated. I've seen and tried over the last couple of decades all sorts of different types of seed saving with tomatoes. So with all of the various experiments I've done with seed saving every year, I kind of wanted to find something that was a happy medium between really good germination rate and not too much work. I have done a few other methods that I've used over the years that have slightly higher germination rate, but they take a lot more work and effort. So this is the way I do it now because I get a really still pretty darn decent germination rate and it's really not that hard. That's the happiest way for me to do. Now, first of all, when you are deciding to do some seed saving with tomatoes and with most other plants, the best types of varieties to use are those that are heirloom variety, open pollinated, because they're going to be the ones where the baby plant is going to have closest properties to the mother plant. It's going to breed true. I do stick mostly to my tried and true heirloom varieties that I know are going to grow well here in my conditions. And that's another reason why I like to seed save from my own tomatoes, because I live in some pretty darn harsh conditions here in southern Alberta, zone 3. Even with a greenhouse, it can be hard to get a good crop every year. And so if I've got tomatoes that are growing really nice and strong and I'm getting a good production from, those are the ones I want to save. Okay, so as with all seed saving, try to stick with the heirloom varieties unless you want to come up with some crazy new hybrid and you don't really care and it's more an experiment, then go for it. 2, pick your strongest and your healthiest plants to choose to seed save from. And 3, which for me is probably pretty important, have fun with it, okay? So I'm going to show you here my method. It's not hard, okay? I've got a tomato here that I've chosen. It's really ripe. It's not wrinkly, too soft ripe. It's just really ripe. I never take my seeds out until I know that that tomato is at its full potential, okay? I'm just gonna slice it up. We'll open it up a bit. All right, I got my tomato open up there. I'm gonna take this pulpy part out of the middle, put it into a nice big Pyrex container here. All right, because there's no point in removing anything but the middle because there's no seeds on the outside part of on the outer layers of the tomato. And get a nice messy tomato bit here that I can use smashed up in a sauce. And I got a nice bunch of goopiness, okay, from the pulp of my tomato. I like to use my fingers for this part because what I'm trying to do is to get out any of the bigger chunks of pulp that don't have any seeds in it, and just sort of trying to remove the seeds from some of the excess stuff that I don't want to keep. And if you don't like using your fingers, you can also use a masher and gently sort of squish away at the stuff, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some water in here. Okay, and I'm going to continue sort of squishing with my fingers and using the masher just to make sure that I'm getting some of the excess that is not required for the actual seed to thrive. Now, some people like to ferment the seeds at this point to have, and it does. You do get a better germination rate, but the difference isn't so much greater that it's worth that extra time and effort for me. And what's happened here, I'll show you in a second from underneath, that the seeds float to the bottom and a lot of the excess stuff has come to the top that I don't want to use. So you can see here when I swirl the water that the nice heavy seeds sink to the bottom. This shot is being taken from the bottom of the thing, whereas more of the pulp is up here at the top and will be easily strained out. So what I'm going to do here is, now that I've got all my mostly seed down at the bottom, I'm going to pour off the floating parts at the top very carefully, and then I'm going to take it and straighten out the seeds with a fine colander. I've got a nice little bunch of seeds here. Okay, there's still a little bit of excess pulp on that, so I'm just going to use my fingers and sort of push. This is a very fine colander, a nice sieve. I'm not like squishing super hard because I don't want to break these seeds, although seeds are always far more seeds are always far stronger than we think they are. All right, but now I can feel that I've got a lot of that jelly kind of feeling gel that surrounds the seeds off of it, and I'm going to rinse it. Okay, so I got a really nice little batch of seeds here, and now what I want to do is dry them off. I used to put these on paper towel, which works. It does dry on paper towel, but also paper towel is quite fibrous, and the little tomato seeds can get quite stuck to it. And I've many times planted tomato plants with little bits of paper towel on it after trying to carefully extract them all from the paper towel. It works, but it's a pain in the butt. So lately what I've been using is parchment paper, because what happens is the seeds do dry off and the parchment paper does absorb some of the moisture, but because it's not fibrous, it doesn't stick to it at all. So I'm gonna take these and knock them out here, spread them out a little bit. An important thing to note, if you are planning on saving more than one kind of tomato seed, make sure you label this parchment paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place this somewhere where it's not going to be stepped on by a cat or blown on, but nice and dry. And my most popular spot is, well, up here on top of the fridge. Even my cat can't get up there. And then I'm going to check it every day, give it a good stir, and within a couple of days, depending on what your humidity is like at this place, you'll have a nice little selection of dried seeds. I did these about 4 days ago, and they're perfect. They're ready to go into storage. And they aren't sticking. See, they're moving around nicely. It's easy to move these around and to put them into their storage, okay? So that's one thing I've really has changed my seed saving game, is switching to parchment paper instead of paper towel. And bonus, you can reuse that parchment paper. I have used the one there for 3 different kinds of seeds. It's great, okay? It's a nice reusable product. Next, and probably almost the most important part, is proper storage, okay? So I am a huge convert of using these lovely little paper coin envelopes because they're sealable, they're nice, great little size, because I got a lot of seeds, so I gotta store. And I do not store my seeds in plastic bags, because if there is any humidity on those seeds that you thought they were fully dry and they weren't, plastic's going to cause molding, okay? And you won't have as good seed life storage. You don't have to freeze them, okay? I find that as long as I keep them in these little paper baggies and in a nice dry, dark place, they're going to last. Obviously, germination rate does tend to decrease through the years with your seeds, but I have found with my tomatoes, I have on a whim planted some that are 8 years old of my own that I've saved, and they're still germinating, okay? And I'm still getting good plants. Not as many as I would with ones that I saved the year before, but don't give up on your seeds, okay? They're probably a lot more viable than you think they are. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pop my little seeds in here, okay? Gonna seal it up, gonna put the variety, the name and the date on it, and the year on it, and I'm gonna pop that away, okay? So that wasn't very difficult, was it? I hope you will give it a try, because tomato seeds are one of those ones that are very rewarding because they do tend to save pretty well. And they're great to share with your friends if you've got, you want to try different varieties and you don't always want to go out and buy. You can maybe find some friends that you can trade some seeds with, okay? Hope that's helpful. And I hope if you have any questions or comments that you'll let me know. If you want to see some of the more seed saving that we're doing here and some of the beekeeping that's going on and preserving, make sure you subscribe. And as always, I hope to take this chance to grow together today. Have a good one.